Hey guys, welcome back to ED Figure. If you're brand new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Today I'm going to be doing something different, and the following is an interview with David Silva, an action figure designer and founder of Creative Beast Studio. Creative Beast Studio designs and manufactures action figures collectible, specializing in natural history and dinosaur subjects. So if you're a big fan of dinosaurs, you are in the right place. With heavy emphasis on the realism of the dinosaurs with excitement of science fiction, David's new line of action figures is the Cyberzoic that is currently on Kickstarter right now. I urge you guys to check it out, the Cyberzoic Kickstarter, as well as Creative Beast Studio website. They have a lot of cool figures and statues. I personally think is really cool, especially the Arctic Dragon that I'm showing on the screen right now. And there's enough interest. David already has planned to do 1/12 scale, which is what I personally like, and I think a lot of my audience really like as well. And I want to make it clear that this video is not sponsored. David's team reached out to me politely, and I'm genuinely interested in talking to someone from the industry. And David has worked with all the big guys. He has worked in NECA, Hasbro, and I believe McFarlane as well. He's really experienced. And yeah, I hope you guys can leave as much comment as possible. Have cool discussion together. And I think that's it from me here. And let's jump to the interview and keep in touch. Enjoy, guys.
All right.
Hi, David.
Hey, Eric, how you doing?
Good, good. Tell us about yourself.
My name is David Silva. I've been working in the toy industry since 2003 as a designer and sculptor, and I've worked for companies such as Hasbro, NECA, McFarlane Toys, and as of 2021, I've been doing my own toy company, Creative Beast Studio, full time, and I'm about to launch my fourth Kickstarter called Cyberzoic, which has to do with armored dinosaurs versus alien dragons.
Oh, this is your fourth one.
Yeah. There've been three before this. They were all for the Beast of the Mesozoic series.
Okay, cool. And I think we can jump straight into the Cyberzoic questions.
Cool.
So, what is the inspiration behind the line?
Um, it's a story that's kind of been developing for me since college, and it it always took place in the future, and it always involved a lot of natural history and how we affect nature and certain themes like that. Um, Originally, it had more to do with like an angels and versus demons type of story, and as my interest uh,
Oh,
developed and changed over the years, it gradually turned into like more of like dinosaurs versus alien creature type of story, and the alien creatures ended up being dragons eventually. So it's a story that's been with me. Some of these characters have have been with me since high school, actually. So it's I'm taking a lot from uh, my past and also like developing a lot of new things as well. So yeah, and inspirations. I mean, I grew up in the '80s, with a lot of the original IPs that were being developed back then, with like He-Man and
mm-hmm.
Transformers, Dino Riders, things like that, and those things have always really been with me. And in the '90s, I really got into Star Wars, the original trilogy, and that's been a big influence as well. So there was a time back then in the '90s when I was a teen where I saw what George Lucas was doing with Star Wars, and I thought, man, that's got to be the coolest thing to put something out there, and everybody is inspired by it and everyone enjoys it. I mean, it's not. I don't know if it's like that anymore, but it was
Hmm.
back then. And uh, you know, I never thought there would ever be even a possibility to attempt, putting my own story out there. But with all the resources that we have nowadays, I thought, well, why not try it, and build upon the Beast of Mesozoic, and kind of spin that into its own universe. So that's where it comes from. And I'm also very fascinated with humankind's place within nature and how our our strengths and adaptations have kind of become so successful that we kind of create our own version of nature, which I see as technology, and that's another thing that I want to explore in this story as well, and where that might lead, and how that might divide people as to where we should go with that type of power and influence.
Cool. And could you give us a little bit of background in terms of, I see there's like factions, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like different groups.
Yeah,
Can you
so
talk a
so
little
our,
bit
our
about
main group is the technology clan, the technologists, and they were the ones who basically saved humanity on this alien planet. They developed methods of recreating animals from the past to defend them from the creatures on this planet, and eventually, after protecting themselves well enough, they started developing different types of armors, different types of weapons. So this story takes place 300 years after that. So they're pretty far along now. They've gained control over a majority of the planet, and they're basically the saviors of the human race. But we start looking at like at what expense, like what have they taken from the planet? What is what had to be removed for them to exist, for us to exist, and once they basically uh, win the war against the native species, uh, it's kind of like, well, what's left, and then the people start dividing, to start thinking about their own futures and what's going to be best for the human race, and that's when you start getting these different factions, people having disagreements about um, you know where the resources are being put and how they're going about uh, consuming more of the planet. So we have our technologists who basically represent order, and then the Fire Clan is the main opposing clan. They're basically chaos. They're more associated with nature,
it.
but they're also not too concerned about the planet. They're just more about uh, basically living outside of the order, and they have a different set of values. Um, Eventually, we get to see the Dragon Clan, which that's part of the story arc, is the development of the Dragon Clan, and that's where the humans learn to work together with the species of the planet to sort of coexist and cooperate. And it takes a while to get there, but that's sort of the main point of the story. Outside of that, we have the Desert Clan, which we won't really get into in this first part of the story. Um, but they're basically the keepers of Earth's history, the archaeologists, and they're also very interested in uh, uh, where humanity will go in the future, as far as they have some weird ideas about exiting physical forms and having a non-restricted consciousness. But that's a whole nother thing. They have a whole nother philosophy, but they're very mysterious culture, and they mostly live underground. Um, and then later on, much later, we'll get to the Water Clan, and they're the most technologically evolved, but they're also uh, like basically thought of as being uh, a myth. So I'm not going to get into that too much right now,
Oh, so
but
the tech ones are not even the most advanced?
they're
The tech
they're
clan?
advanced now. Now, as far as technology goes, they're very advanced with genetics. That's
Oh.
their specialty. But this other clan, the Water Clan, they're advanced with robotics and artificial life forms and things like that. Um, and we eventually build towards that, where it's sort of a culmination of humans versus the species that we accidentally created, which would be the artificial life forms.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's if you think about it, that was like a three-parter, and that's like Act 3. So, so yeah, there's a lot going on. Plus, we learn more about the dragons and more about the world and how it's been affecting the animals, um, and and basically the characters' reactions to that. You kind of put them on the good side or the bad side. So, so yeah, there's a lot to figure out, but it's been really interesting to try to see where everything fits and come up with these concepts and storylines and everything.
Cool. And I think we can jump straight into talking about the plans for the action figures. So I believe these are 1/18 scale, right?
Right. Yep.
I'm looking at a concept art over here.
Yeah. Yeah. We felt that 1/18th was the best way to go. Plus, the Beast of the Mesozoic line was already primarily 1/18th, and that allows us to do the most number of species in scale with each other. So every once in a while we might deviate. We might do 1/35th or 1/12th or something like that. But for the most part, it's planned to be 1/18th scale.
I see. Yeah, because I'm a heavy 1/12 scale collector. So it
Sure,
would be
sure.
really, really cool. I
Yeah.
think 1/12 scale is like really, it's trendy right now. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I collect a lot of 1/12 scale as well. The only issue for this line is that it would be very limiting as far as having in scale dinosaurs. But that being said, I do want to put the characters out in 1/12 scale. I just I have to figure out what
yeah,
will go with them, you know.
no,
So
because I noticed like you guys take scale very seriously, right? Because
hmm
I saw some
yeah.
of your interviews when I was doing the research, and I think that's good, but like I think some of them can be really abstract, right? Like when people are displaying it. Like for example, there's a
Yeah,
lot like Power Rangers. Like the robots are obviously like out of scale. They're
that's
never
true.
going to be in
Very
scale.
true.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah. They're
think
not.
this is just my 2 cents on it, right? As a collector,
hmm
I think it will be cool. Like even just you're already doing it exactly how I imagine it, but I
hmm
think like 1/12 scale would be really cool. Cause I think it would be really cool if like say there's one character matches with like a dinosaur and dragon,
hmm
and they don't necessarily have to be in the same scale. And for example, I saw the. Can you talk us a little bit about the purple dragon, the Arctic
Yeah, yeah.
dragon? Yeah, I think this is
hmm
really cool, and I think it will be really cool if you have like a character, like a specific character that looks like him, with the same color scheme, with really cool weapons and stuff, and just display them
Yeah,
together. I think that'd be really cool. Just my idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the cool things about the dragons is you can say it's at whatever scale you want, as far as those
Yeah.
go.
Exactly. Right.
So,
Yeah.
if you want to put those with 1/12, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean, and yeah, and to your point, I mean, for most people, it's not a huge issue, but the the core audience that I've developed over the years with Beast of the Mesozoic
I
has
see.
been very fond of the scale, and it does bring a certain level of realism to it when you can have several different species lined up and you can see how they compare to one another. And it's always kind of been in my head to have a whole shelf full of animals from all different time periods all
Mhm.
in scale with each other,
Oh, I
uh,
see. I see where you're going.
because that's to me that's just like the ultimate collection, being able to see wildlife since the beginning of time and basically through modern day, plus stuff that might happen later. I think that that's just so much fun to play around with and see how everything measures up to each other, because as being humans, we're so impressed with large animals or large structures or large you know uh, landscapes or whatever, and having a little human figure in scale with all these creatures, it almost kind of puts you in that world in a way because you relate to that scale.
Mhm.
So that's that's something that I do want to explore. Although people obviously they won't be limited by their own imagination. If they want to mix and match, that's totally up to them.
Yeah, I do see your vision, but I guess from my perspective, I'm always looking for something cool to buy.
Hmm.
And not necessarily I'll want like a full shelf of. I guess I just didn't get into it yet, so it's a little
Yeah,
bit
well,
different from my perspective.
at
But
PowerCon, I
I see
did
it.
show the two main characters in 1/12 scale, and the reception was extremely positive.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Yeah, yeah, I'm super impressed with how they turned out too, and I would love to make that a part of this campaign.
Hmm.
Uh, if if it does well enough, if the reception's really good to the characters, and I see there's potential, then yeah, I would definitely put those in there somewhere, and you know just go in that direction as well. I'm all for it. I just don't want to put
Hmm.
too many things in there at one time because I don't. I mean, I don't know what to expect. So
Yeah, like you said, you already built an audience, so I guess it's like
yeah, yeah, but the
smoother.
challenge is that the audience is primarily natural history based audience, and now I'm going into sci-fi genre. So,
Hmm.
I want to bring them along, but I also want to reach a bunch of new people as well. So there's, there is that kind of appreciating both sides in a way, and seeing how you can bring people that wouldn't normally get into sci-fi into the sci-fi, and how people who are normally into sci-fi don't really care about natural history so much, maybe bring them into natural history, because I think the two work really well together, um, and hopefully this will kind of show that to people.
Yeah, and from my experience, I think cool figures are just cool figures. If like
Yeah,
figures are really cool, it doesn't matter. Like I think people are always looking for something to buy nowadays.
yeah, yeah.
Especially
I bought
I'm
plenty
a
of figures.
I'm a heavy user, so
Yeah, yeah. I bought plenty of figures just because they look cool. I mean, I don't have to be into a brand necessarily like a cool figure,
yeah.
but yeah, I totally get that.
I think we can jump into some of my other questions, and
Hmm.
then we can come back to Cyberzoic later. And
Sure.
yeah, how familiar? Just out of curiosity, how familiar are you with the Japanese imports? What's your opinion on them?
I I'm super familiar with it. I'm a big fan of what they've done, what they've been doing, what they're doing now. I'm a fan of a lot of different types of anime, and um, you know the that you have like your figure arts and your monster arts and all that. I mean, all that stuff's amazing.
Yeah, because
Um,
Figure Arts has really been killing it, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
I don't understand the industry enough to like know why they're suddenly doing so much. I'm guessing because they open factories nowadays, or maybe it's the power of social media. Like, because some of the stuff they didn't want to do back then, like maybe 7 years ago, but now they're giving us everything at once. Do you have
yeah. I
a
mean,
2 cents on
there,
that? Hmm.
there's a lot of factors that might play into it. I mean, uh, I'm assuming you're talking a lot about the Godzilla stuff.
No, not the Godzilla stuff. The
No.
anime stuff. Like,
Oh, the
cause
anime.
yeah, cause
Okay.
the back in the day, like those, they only have like a few that's like really popular. Like Dragon Ball is really popular, so
Sure.
they just kept doing Dragon Ball forever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my
That's not.
impression is that like the IPs are hard to get. But I think this year they're doing like 5 or 6 or 7 big IPs all at once.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not sure like why they couldn't do this a long time ago. And
Yeah.
my only guess is that maybe the social media is just like really powerful right now, and when they extend to the to American market, it's just a lot bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, social media has probably helped a lot of companies to reach a new audience. No, I really don't know what the difference would be as far as that goes. I mean, when it comes to licenses,
Hmm.
it's weird. Like when I was at NECA, we'd have all kinds of things pop up with the licensors. You wouldn't even predict whether something became unavailable or available. You just like it's just kind of a year to year thing. Um, and I would imagine it's no different with the anime properties. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I would say that they've gotten very successful over the years with lines like, Godzilla, Monster Hunter, Dragon Ball, and
Yeah.
that probably opens things up to acquire new licenses, I would think, and just keep rolling with it.
Yeah,
But I mean,
they have
anime's
been
been popular over here
crazy. Yeah, they have been
since.
crazy. Like it's probably at its peak. They're just like
Well,
slaughtering everybody.
I don't know. It's there. The collectibles market is bigger than ever in general. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of potential for more products. So yeah, I mean, it's not surprising.
Okay. Back to Cyberzoic. Like, how big do you plan the roadmap? Like, how big's the roadmap? Cause I saw the I'm not sure if you can see my screen here. Yeah. So I saw this on the Kickstarter thing you were.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything that I showed, yeah, on those
Mhm.
three images, that's what we have planned for this first offering.
Wait,
And
everything here?
yeah, I mean, assuming all the stretch goals open up, yes, because
Right.
most of those are stretch goals. The ones with the stars are the launch items, and then everything
Mhm.
else is a stretch goal. So, I mean, it's extremely ambitious and optimistic, but I wanted to be prepared just in case. And those are everything there. Those are the prototypes we're working on right now. So, depending on the reception, they'll be released sooner than later, or we'll see. But yeah, that's what's planned. And the funny thing is, I trimmed it down significantly.
I see.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I was wanting to do that it just didn't make sense to put that much. Even if everything funded, it still didn't make sense. So I mean, some of it just has to come later.
And I remember seeing some cool gimmicks, right? Like the armor can be removed and turned into a vehicle. Is that what it is?
Right. Yeah. 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 So and these gimmicks play into the story too. Like as far as like the Tech Clan's armor turns into vehicles, and the Fire Clan armor turns into animals. And the Tech Clan armor, they basically have uh, weapons to help them fight these large dragons on the planet, while the Fire Clan is secretly developing artificial life forms that pretend to be armor, so that the Tech Clan doesn't notice.
Mm.
And like, it also just makes for better toys. I think it makes it more interesting.
How do you come up with these? Like, do you just draw these by yourself? Like, what's
Yeah,
the
well,
design process behind?
I mean, I work with a few guys, and we have our phone calls, and we work the stuff out. My main designer is Ross Persichetti, and he and we talk pretty much every week about designs, and we go over concepts and how do we make things work better, how to make it cooler. And we've been doing this for like 2.5 years now. I think we started this before the Tyrannosaur Kickstarter, and just you know in the background, sort of, without even mentioning it on social media. We were working on this stuff, so it's it's taken a while to get to this point, but it's been a lot of back and forth, just trying to figure out what works, and a lot of it is developing old concepts from like college, and then a lot of it is also brand new concepts. So
Oh, I really like this one. Can you see my screen?
yeah, he's one of the main characters, and he's one of the ones that I originally developed back in college.
Mm-hmm.
But this version is is based on Michael Jai White. This, like, for some reason, I just thought he would be cool as his character. I always liked him, and uh, originally this character was not really human. He was sort of like this half man, half dragon character that never showed his face. So it
Oh,
kind of it kind of evolved into this other character, but the look is still very similar as far as the armor goes and the helmet and everything.
oh, is this like a variant of the same character?
It's it's a potential variant. I don't think we're going to do that right now. Like the more we get into his character, I don't think he would wear a cape. He's not really the cape wearing type, but it was an angle we were exploring for a little while.
If you were to do capes, are you gonna do cloth goods? I don't know how difficult that is.
I think at that scale, I think you kind of have to. Otherwise, like you end up with some really thick material, like plastic. I mean, it's probably fine if you do 1/12 scale in plastic, but I feel like soft goods work better for a cape at like the 1/18 scale.
I think people prefer soft goods either way nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. It just makes it easier, especially if they're riding dinosaurs. You don't want to like a stiff
Ah,
cape,
for sure, for
you
sure.
know.
So this guy comes with a that's a sword that kind of looks like the ones in Halo the elites use.
Yeah, he has like these energy blades.
You can
You
do
can
dual wield.
wield them both at one time or in each hand.
Cool. But yeah, back to the idea I was telling you the earlier about the purple dragon. I imagine like there should be like a strong character that just looks purple. And in anime, you always have that one guy that's really strong. Maybe he carries like a samurai sword and has like barely wears anything, but nothing can
Uh,
touch him. I'm not sure if you know what I'm referring to. Like, there's always that one character that's super strong that doesn't make sense.
Now that this one that dragon is one of the characters actually. Like
Oh,
it's yeah, it's he's basically the kind of the plant's protector, and he kind of gave up. And
gave up. Okay.
yeah, he kind of like went into hiding
Well,
more or
that's
less,
super.
and part of the story is like him coming back and sort of helping the humans take the planet back from those that took it. And he has his own arc. He hates humans or whatever, and eventually ends up helping them. Um, but uh, but yeah, the dragons are not all just mounts in this story. Like some of them are extremely intelligent and they have their own characters. They
Yeah,
don't have to be humanoids to have characters in this story.
yeah. Dragons are always cool. Same with dinosaurs. Well, there's a lot of engineering. Can you talk us a little bit about engineering?
So at this stage, we were simply doing everything, just with drawings, trying to figure everything out on paper, basically, or
Mhm.
I guess on the computer.
Mhm. Mhm.
but but yeah, I mean, nothing had been sculpted at this stage. We were just trying to figure out how it might work, and it actually ended up pretty close to this as far as the sculpt, and it's going to require another round of engineering once we have the factory work on it, obviously. But this one is one of the more straightforward ones. Um, yeah, me and Ross, we both are super into Transformers, so we're
Mhm.
very familiar with like transforming robots and how things move around and things like that. So we were kind of drawing on that for ideas.
How often do you have to visit? I believe it's in China, right? The factories.
Well, I mean, lately we haven't been able to go over there. I think it only just opened up recently. I've
Mhm.
only been over there once, uh, back in 2017, and I still work with the factory that I was visiting at that time. Um, but a lot of them have become so good at not having us visit that it's not as necessary as it once was because they're like really
Interesting, interesting. Cause I
yeah,
would
they're well,
imagine. Uh-huh.
at least the one that I work with, and then I also know people who can manage in between as well. So I mean,
Ah.
there's definitely ways of doing it where you don't aren't required to go check on everything in person. I mean, you can, but I mean, for me personally, because I'm doing all the design work and running the business and everything, it's a difficult thing for me to get to. If
Mhm.
that was required, I would rather hire somebody to do that. But there's always somebody looking after what's going on. There's always communication back and forth through email, at the very least, and there's always photos, and you know, I'm I'm always giving feedback, and so yeah, there's a lot of communication, whether someone's there or not.
So you do have someone you trust that can like you know, check out the quality and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Interesting, interesting.
And that's always the best way. And a lot of times they hire people uh, who speak good English and can communicate with us really well, and yeah, that makes it easier. And especially if you meet them. I mean, like I said, I went over there and met them, and it helps a lot too. Um, but, uh, but yeah, I mean, it's all very doable. There's a lot of different ways to communicate now. So yeah.
So, are we gonna see more concept art when the Kickstarter starts, or is this
Um,
most of the stuff?
well, we're definitely going to keep doing the concepts, but at this point, our concepts are like way ahead of our prototypes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're probably, for the time being, going to focus on what we drew and make those into physical form. In addition to, you will be seeing more package art. There's a lot of package art still to come,
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
and those are cool because it puts the 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 characters and the dinosaurs and scenarios and backgrounds and all that stuff. Um, so that's something to look forward to, and it also expands upon the world a lot of times as well. So um, there's so much as far as the drawings go that we can take further, and that's what we'll be focusing on that for at least the next 6 months or so.
Um, are you focused more on army building or having distinct characters, or both?
Yeah, both. I think both are important. I think that the characters are what's going to drive interest in the story, while the army builders create, you know, a sense of like a larger world. I think we have a lot of people and a lot of large armies and things like that. I think that's it makes it feel like there's a bigger threat, I guess.
Yeah. For this lady, is this a character or a army builder?
She's one of the main characters.
Okay, okay, cool.
And
And
that
then
the one that's green there, that's the same character. She just
just a
she,
color
she
variant.
changes her look. Yeah.
Hmm. And I'm guessing this one is a army building.
No, he's one of the knights. He's one of the tech
Oh,
knights.
okay.
So he's the pilot of the Stegosaurus, and we're not making him yet, but he is going to be in the next Cyberzoic set.
Wait, then which
So
one
that
is the army building tech for the tech clan?
um,
Is he here
there's
or?
a Utah Raptor pilot. I think toward the bottom maybe. Keep going. No, not. No, she's a character. Keep going down. Is that the bottom? No.
Yes, the
No,
bottom.
keep going. Okay. I thought. Okay. Right over to the right.
This one?
No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And,
The
and also
techno
there's
pilot.
another one too. So that's one of
Oh,
the
I
army.
see.
Yeah, he's one of the army builders. He's like a high level troop. Um, the Utah Raptor pilots are sort of like elite uh, pilots, and then there's a shot of him right there too. Yeah. So they're like high level troops.
The troops, and this is another troop, right? From the Fire
Um,
Clan.
yeah, well, he ended up becoming the Fire Clan Knight, and we're not sure if he's going to be a character or a troop. But that one could go either way.
Yeah, you
We're
could
not
go either
sure.
way. Just give him like a head sculpt.
Yeah, was there,
Does
there are there are a few characters we have planned who start off as troops and then develop into an important part of the story. So that's another aspect as well.
What's your opinion on the articulation? Because I would imagine like the third design, the articulation is a little bit harder on the crotch area.
Yeah, that one we're not going with that. Yeah, that would be a bit difficult, especially if he's riding on something. But these are super early designs. I mean, we were just kind of trying to get a read on the aesthetic at that point. And some of that stuff is brought forward, and we
Mm-hmm.
refine it and make it work better for its purposes as a toy. That's the package art right there.
Oh, it's the package art. Okay.
Yeah, that's Ray Flomatan, he does a lot of these. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely cool. Who's your main audience? I'm gonna just jump to the next question.
My main,
Yeah,
I'm
who do
about
you
to
think
find
is your main?
out.
Oh, okay, okay. Cause,
Yeah,
cause like
we're
most
gonna find
if,
out.
cause if you're gonna do it on Kickstarter, I don't know, like it's mainly adults, right?
Oh
Unless you go
yeah,
to
yeah. I mean, like
unless
age
you go to
group.
Target,
Yeah,
so
I've always been targeting 15 and up as far as age groups go. Um, but it's not uncommon to hear from someone younger and that's really into what I'm doing. So I'm not definitely not excluding anybody. If anybody
yeah,
is inspired by it, anybody likes it, that's cool. But
because they have to at least be old enough for
but
social media, right?
what's that?
Because I imagine like um everything we're doing here looks like they have to be old enough on YouTube at least.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's potentially for everybody. I mean, there's definitely no, there's nothing that would be past a PG-13 situation. Um, so I mean, it's not in that direction,
Oh yeah, I'm not worried
but
about that. I'm more about the like the price points and stuff. Like
yeah. See, that's the real distinction is the price point. I mean, I'm not trying to market to people who are having 8 and 10 year olds and trying to get them to buy a $50 ceratopsian.
or I think they
So
could talk to their parents about it. They behave.
I mean, it's happened. I
Yeah.
mean, I've known plenty of instances of that, but basically, at that point, you're trying to compete with Jurassic World, and they can bring their prices in much lower
Ah, I
because
see what you're doing.
that's what they do. I mean, it's for a younger audience at a lower price point, and
Mhm.
they're making huge runs of these figures, so they're definitely able to bring the prices in lower.
I see.
Not to mention they have less articulation and detail, but
Yeah.
they kind of have their own look to it.
Cool. Let me see what else is. What is the quality that you're most proud of for the line?
The what?
Or like a something you're really proud of, like a unique qualities.
As far as
I know it
as far
sounds
as
really abstract.
yeah.
Yeah, because I would imagine everything is you're proud of. Just based on what you're telling me. Ah, that's a bad question. I don't know why. Just like I think I just look at some of the questions people were asking, but
Hmm.
let me think. Yeah, we went over inspiration. Process quality. Oh, what do you enjoy the most about creating this line?
Um, I, I guess the most satisfying part is seeing a finished prototype. Um, it takes many months to get to that point. We have our initial drawings, and then we refine the drawings, and eventually we start coming up with colors, and then eventually we start sculpting, and then there's the building, and then the painting, and there's all these steps, and then eventually
Mhm.
you end up with like something you can photograph, and that's actually where I'm at with a lot of the cyberzoic stuff right now, and that's really cool to see all that work turn into something, and then again once it's all like you know tooled and we have actual functional figures. I mean that is very gratifying, and then you have it again when you see it in the package, and it's just like those three uh, parts of the process are they're very motivating because it really feels like there's so much that happens in between, and there's so many things that could go wrong, and there's so much work,
Mhm.
and it's just it's very satisfying to see it happen. Um, I mean, it's a small part of the thousands of figures that are out there at any given moment, but action figures are very challenging to design and create, and because of all the moving parts and the paint apps and everything. So when you when you do make something like that, like it does feel significant, even if it's something small. It's just like, wow, this started off as a sketch, and now it's like a functional three-dimensional object. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think that brings up to my follow-up question. Like, how important do you think the IPs are? Obviously, they're important. Like, cause when I was younger, or even now, like I always feel like if you can create something cool, it might sell well. But apparently, like in the market, I don't think that's how it works.
I mean, that's one small part of the larger whole. One of the biggest restraints to good ideas is having an audience to notice them.
Mm-hmm.
um, we live in a time where we can grow an audience and we can show our work to people. And if they decide that it's good, then you'll have a success in theory. Um, but growing that audience can take a long time. You have the larger companies, they have audiences that have been there for a very long time, so that's not the same strategy.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
But in that case, as far as like the larger companies, they're less likely to take risks on anything that doesn't have an audience. So you have people like me and the Horsemen and like some of the other independents. Like we're throwing our hats into this ring of creating something new, hoping that enough people see it. And if it doesn't work, then we just go back to the drawing board. And it sucks, but it's not like it's gonna bring down a multi-billion-dollar company. So we just retool and try again. But like the larger companies, they don't have that luxury. I think that they're almost kind of victims of their success at this point, because if you look, I mean, almost everything is something that's being remade. Yeah,
Same
like
with video game industry.
yeah, because it's a reliable model. You have a built-in audience, and you can probably estimate how things are going to sell based on what happened before. And there's a lot of investors, a lot of money going around, so people want to be assured that the investment is going to be worthwhile. I mean, there's a lot of other considerations in that world that we don't have to necessarily worry about as much on the independent side. We can kind of play around with stuff and throw stuff out there and see what people think of it, and I think that's really cool. Yeah, it's just a completely different business model.
Okay. Can we look at Kickstarter for a second? Just the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause do they have like a toy section? It's been a while
Yeah.
since I used Kickstarter. So
Yeah,
do I just search toy?
There've been quite a few action figure Kickstarters this year, I've noticed.
Really? Because like
Yeah.
the last time I checked, there's like only a few.
Yeah, so there's one right
I know
there
this
on
one
the
on the
upper
left.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any other running at the moment. I know there's another one starting soon.
Yeah, so this one's very original too. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think the last time I checked, so all you have to do is type in action figures, right?
Yeah,
Which
that
is
should
fine.
bring it up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think you have a designated area for it. Cool. And you're gonna be on Kickstarter October 3?
Yeah, that's when it launches. I'll probably set up the link within the next day or so. I'm still in there putting it all together. But
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that's where it'll be, and I'll be blasting that on my social media, as far as the link goes, and putting on my website and everything. I'll make it as easy as possible to find.
Okay. And is this guy gonna be on Kickstarter?
Yeah, he's going to be one of the launch items.
Is this a 1/12 scale character? This eye
Yeah,
split
yeah,
dude? Okay.
yeah. That's from Motu Classics.
What is your favorite anime? Just out of curiosity.
My favorite anime, I have to go with Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball? How
It's
about the newer stuff?
I love it. I love all of it. Except GT, I'm not super into GT, but all the other stuff I like quite a bit. I'm also a big fan of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I think that's a
Oh, okay, okay. That one's pretty
very
classic.
very close second for me, and I would even say it's probably better. But I just love Dragon Ball so much that I can't really say it's not my favorite.
Even Super.
I love Super. I was just watching it yesterday, actually.
I
Yeah.
try to get into it, but I guess there's just so much
Um,
going on nowadays.
yeah, I think it picks up halfway through. Like if you can, get through the first half, then it really starts getting good. And then the last section is some of the best, at least in my opinion, as far as Dragon Ball goes. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I love all that stuff. Luckily, I haven't bought a lot of the products though, 'cause I would probably just go broke.
But yeah, I'm very financially responsible when it comes to action figures.
Yeah, I'm actually haven't even been buying a whole lot lately. Just been trying to conserve space now.
Yeah. Okay, I don't. I think that's it from my end. If there's anything else you want to add.
um, I mean, it covers the Cyberzoic stuff pretty well. So,
We could
unless you have
definitely
questions.
do this more often later if you would like to.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Or maybe you
I'm
can
around. Yeah,
show some prototypes too, or like show some actual figures when they come out.
yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
There's always stuff to show.
Alrighty. I'll talk to you next time then.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, David.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.